We're on to the Sweet 16, so it's time to wake up, college basketball! Welcome to Wake Up College Basketball, presented by 4 Points Hotels. Travel reinvented. Book now at 4points.com. And the answer to your question is no. Ryan and I did not talk ahead of time about what we were going to wear today.
I just know. I can just sort of
it's just back and forth. Stockton
Malone.
Malone.
Simpatico, yeah. Let's start with some sad news today.
Oh, no.
There are a lot of, I think the charitable term is bummed out basketball fans after the heading into the Sweet 16.
You and I, Xavier.
Stephen F. Austin.
SFA.
And let's be honest.
Yeah.
UNI is definitely the worst of that group, or the most unhappy of that group.
For sure.
It's one thing to lose on a buzzer beater. It's one thing to lose when you blow a small lead over the course of...
Come back.
What happened to Northern Iowa is almost unprecedented, but fortunately we have you, our resident sports grief counselor, who can, not in the field of basketball necessarily, but can tell us a little bit about what it's like to blow a quote-unquote insurmountable.
Yes. As an Oregon football fan.
So I'm gonna just time you here. We're gonna see if you can make it 44 seconds without screwing this up. Ready?
Yes.
Go ahead.
As an Oregon basketball fan and an Oregon football fan, they blew a 31-point lead at halftime. I can say this: when you blow a lead, and there are going to be teams that will blow leads moving forward as well, you're going to want to sort of booze. You're going to want to take out your aggression. Here's what I say: scream into a pillow, go for a mile-long walk, and then take a long shower, because the tears, they blend in. They blend in, together. And you will clean yourself, and you will feel warm. Your muscles will be more relaxed. I think that's the best thing, and I think anything less than that, you're doing a disservice to your fandom.
You only made it 31 seconds, unfortunately.
31? And we were at 31-0!
Yeah, it's a little too real. So.
All right. Fair. Let's go with a more positive outlook at this moment. Let's look at each region and a player from each region that we both feel could take over games to the point that they could almost single-handedly lead their teams to the Final Four.
Yes.
Let's start with you, and let's go with the West.
Okay. It seems hard to go with anybody but Buddy Hield in this region. Buddy Buckets. I mean, what he is able to do, even when he gets off to slow starts, even when it seems like he is just not going to play his best game, he's one of those players who you don't necessarily say, wow, he went out there and just gave you minute after minute of crushing excellence. Just like, oh, he only needed to be good for these 12 minutes. But those 12 minutes were some of the most impressive offensive basketball you've ever seen. He is he's the afterburner for this Oklahoma. This Oklahoma team can do reasonably well without Buddy Hield, but once he really gets going, it's just like, oh, there they go. Oh, we're not catching them anymore. Bye.
If you could bottle any one thing in this tournament, it would be his confidence.
Yes.
And it will be tested for in future years if you are testing positive for Buddy Hield. No, he's great. I'm going to go with the Midwest, and I'm going to go with Malcolm Brogdon of Virginia, just because he is on a team that doesn't necessarily fill up the stat sheet with points. And with their region as it stands now, and the bottom of that region is terrific for Virginia. But moving forward against Iowa State, that's a team that scores. And even though Virginia is great with a capital G defensively, if Iowa State gets going offensively, even if they're not stopping Virginia, they're going to need a performance, especially from Brogdon. Not necessarily deep. He hasn't been hot, but he is that one game changer on that team that can lead them, hopefully this year, because they don't have Michigan State in front of them, to the Final Four. What do you
want to go to the South
Let's go to the South.
Angel Rodriguez, Miami, very interesting player because he's able to put up boatloads of points. I think he's over 50 points between the first two games of the tournament at this point. But he also can be a little bit of a turnover problem.
Yes.
So he's an interesting X factor just because you saw Miami, when he's on, can play at almost the highest level of anybody in this tournament.
Yeah.
But the problem for Miami is keeping that kind of consistency, especially with him. It will be interesting to see, which Angel Rodriguez. Miami fans talk about there's good Angel Rodriguez and there's bad Angel Rodriguez. You're probably going to get both in a game.
Yes.
You just have to hope that you get more good than bad. If that's true, Miami is going to be a very, very interesting opponent for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, the Canes clearly, as we saw in the Wichita State game, go as Angel goes.
Yes, yeah.
Which makes it fun either way.
Yeah.
Let's go and finish with the East, and I'm going to go with Yogi Ferrell. Oh my God. He is so, well, first of all, he's great. His sisters might be even better.
His sisters are one of the
They
best
are that
tournament.
big X factor.
Yeah.
Yogi Ferrell with Indiana, playing against the North Carolina team that is so complete, perhaps outside shooting. But they're so tough inside. I don't think Indiana's going to be able to match that type of talent and power inside. And that's when it comes to be, Yogi Ferrell needs to take over. They're down 5 with 2.5 minutes left. There's nobody else on that team. There are others that are close, but that can get to the level, that can get to the hoop and draw fouls, that can shoot like Yogi Ferrell can, because North Carolina is that good and that complete a team that you will need at some point. And we've seen, whether it was with Wisconsin late, whether it was with Oregon late, that these top teams need that singular presence.
That person they can go to in times of trouble and say, please save us.
And especially with Indiana, and Tom Crean's done a great job recently, but there is that factor of, they need to overcome something coaching.
Right.
And Yogi can do that.
I do think Kentucky should hire Yogi Ferrell's sisters for the offseason. How do we bring him down a notch? How do we stop him in any way whatsoever?
That's true.
Yeah.
Got to deflate Yogi. All right. And with that, it is now time to check in with our friend Seth Rosenthal, who is holed up in a 4 Points Hotel beautiful suite all tournament long. Let's see how he's doing.
It's been a week of basketball, 52 games. Everybody's freaking out about upsets. Not me, I'm not freaking out. Got a perfect bracket. You know why I'm perfect and you're not? Because I'm in my basketball sanctuary here in this hotel. I've been watching all the games on my TV. I've got CBS, TBS, TNT. I got True TV, TBS, CBS, TNT, CBS, True TV, TNT, TBS. I got my phone, I got another phone, I got my iPad, and I realized that I can see into the window of this guy across the street. He mostly watches Cold Case, so that didn't work out. We're past the first few rounds. I got the Sweet 16 coming up. That means I got 3 days here in the hotel. I got no basketball to watch. I'm completely alone. I gotta find a hobby.
Thanks, Seth. And you know what? All things considered, I think he's doing all right.
He keeps saying he has all these perfect brackets, but that can't be.
He's not showing us the proof.
That can't be true, right?
I don't think so.
There's no way. I mean, ESPN, I think all their perfect brackets were dead by Saturday morning or something.
I like the confidence that he has.
Sure. I mean, there's no way to know.
Right. There is no way to know. God. But you know what? I hope he finds that hobby these next few days. It seems like he might need it.
He's going to need it. He's going to need it.
All right. Let's finish out the show. We've had all sorts of crazy upsets and people getting very upset at their own brackets.
Yep. We've been wrong about several things.
So very, very wrong.
I mean, this show is great for, if anything, just listen to what we say and say, okay, 60% of that is going to be wrong.
Absolutely.
But we decided to get out there and talk to other fans, see what they have been most wrong about this tournament. We specifically excluded Michigan State because pretty much everybody was wrong about that. Let's start with a bunch of people who had faith in Purdue.
Oh!
And boy, was that faith just completely wasted, including our friend over at ESPN, the Bear, Chris Fallica. I mean, it's unfortunate because I also was one of those people who was like, watched the Big Ten Conference Championship game, saw Purdue hang with Michigan State, said, hey, this could maybe indicate
great
a
size
deep run.
To take them. Yeah.
In reality, we were just watching two teams that did nothing in the tournament.
I was initially told that Boilers don't mess. I'd like to revise that sentiment. We have an update. Boilers mess.
A lot of mess.
There was a lot of a mess involved.
We also had some fans who wanted to point out that they believed in West Virginia to their detriment.
Not wrong.
This is a West Virginia team that got killed by Florida earlier this year.
Okay.
Florida's not very good.
Okay.
So I hate to use small pieces of data, but that should have told me.
I like the consistency, though, of West Virginia embarrassing themselves in the tournament. We're on a streak. It's good to be consistent in life.
Right. We also had some people on the flip side. It wasn't just people disappointed by picks they believed in that didn't pan out.
Right.
We had a couple people who pointed out that they did not believe in Gonzaga. Gonzaga has not necessarily been great in recent years in living up to high expectations.
Correct.
This year they come into the tournament with relatively low expectations. They're like, oh, right, this is that thing we do. This is what we're really good at. Also, we have a Sabonis, and you don't.
We have a Sabonis.
We have a Sabonis. If they had two.
Oh my God. Saboni?
Saboni.
Oh, please.
We're going to check on the plural for that.
Yeah.
And then finally, we have this gentleman, Mr. Baylor.
What a first name.
Baylor in his username pointed out that he got the day of the tournament start wrong.
Is he in Hong Kong?
As a result, he lives on the international date line, so it is confusing. As a result, he was unable to submit a bracket whatsoever.
Okay.
That's maybe the most confusing thing anybody's done this this tournament. But then our friends over at Reddit College Basketball point out that their biggest mistake was filling out a bracket at all, which I think is true for most of us. It's really fun to look at your office pool and see who's leading it and be like, boy, nobody has their champion left. This is all gone terribly, terribly wrong, and that is why we love you, March Madness.
I like the idea that this guy doesn't know the obvious days to end. Easter's on a Sunday this year? On a what?
No, I showed up on Tuesday for Thanksgiving. Is that wrong?
What? I made yams. All right. Thank you for watching Wake Up College Basketball. We're here after each round of the tournament, so we'll see you after the Sweet 16. Wake Up College Basketball is presented by 4 Points Hotels. Travel reinvented. Book now on 4points.com. See you soon.
Get some sleep.